Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as a rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Hi, my name is Alicia Eggleston, and I'll be reading Caged Bird, a poem by Maya Angelou. A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends, and dips his wings in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn-bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But the caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jamie. This art piece is insanely special to me, and it has been since I created it in the beginning of June 2020. I made the art piece when I was assigned a project, and the only parameters was to create a piece about hope. And at the time, everyone was struggling to find hope in the midst of the chaos and just the sorrow that was happening that you saw everywhere in the news. And I personally found hope in the unity of everyone, and whether it was the unity of my family or the unity that I saw on the news with the Black Lives Matter movement and with the beginning of Pride Month. Even though there were no pride parades, everyone was still supporting one another on social media, and I just found serious hope in all of that, because even though we were all struggling together, which gave me hope that we would get through it eventually. And in my piece in the back, I took pieces from news articles, and from the news articles of all this sorrow that everyone was talking about, I represented the fist and Pride Month with the rainbow, and I just wanted to show that in the midst of everything, this unity was growing and the little flowers were growing and it was going to get better. So I hope you like it.
Hi, my name is Adriel Shikapwasha, and I'm going to be presenting the poem On the Pulse of Morning by Maya Angelou. A rock, a river, a tree, host to species long since the departed, mark the mastodon, the dinosaur who left dried tokens of their sojourn here on our planet floor. Any broad alarm of their hastening doom is lost in the gloom of dust and ages. But today the rock cries out to us, clearly, forcefully, "Come, you may stand upon my back and face your destiny, but seek no haven in my shadow. I will give you no hiding place down here." You created only a little lower than angels, the crouched too long in the bruising darkness, have lain too long, face down in ignorance, your mouth spilling words, armed for slaughter. The rock cries out to us today, "You may stand upon me, but do not hide your face."
Hello, my name is Zinelli Sandoval, and I created this art piece last summer. Last summer, many protests were going on, and I wanted to hold on to something in support of them, so I decided I was going to make something. As I was looking for inspiration, I came across this picture on her right of a protester. She had duct tape on her mouth saying "I can't breathe" in support of George Floyd, and her hand was held up high to symbolize that we have had enough. This impactful image was something that I felt I needed to remake on a poster. I added a hand that was holding her hand up to show that people of all color are in support of this movement. As I went to protest, I saw that people of all color were marching together, so I decided that this was a major part of the artwork that I needed to incorporate. Throughout Black history, progress has been made, but the need for more change is still ongoing, and we are not stopping anytime soon.
Hi, my name is Jordan Williams, and I'm a junior. Today I'll be reciting a poem called "Can You Hear Us Now?" I wrote this poem when Black Lives Matter was at its peak over the summer, and it was in response to people only focusing on the riots. I hope you like it. To all the people complaining about the riots, would you have even tuned in, or would you still be silent? See, you hide behind the stance saying violence won't fix a crime. But if the violence hadn't started, would you have even blinked an eye? 'Cause when we protest with peace, you act like you can't hear a word. The riots seem to be the only way for us to be heard. No, I'm not saying I'm in love with the idea of burning down places. But if we didn't, would you have even paid attention to the cases? I'm not trying to be rude, I just want to start a conversation. One that needs to be had because personally, I'm losing patience. I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing defenseless people killed on the news. I'm tired of hearing all these ignorant thoughts and views. Would you have even cared if the riots didn't exist? Would you have even had an opinion if we didn't throw up our fists? Something needs to give, so I'm asking just once more. Would you have even paid attention to what we were fighting for? Thank you. Have a nice night.
My name is Frankita Brahma Faundu, and today I have my dandelion painting. So my dandelion painting is inspired by pointillism, and I used a canvas and some paint to complete it. Okay, so I started off with a yellow paint, and then as I went up, I used a light blue and a light green to achieve this color in the middle. And then as I went up, I used a darker blue to achieve the skyline, and I completed the background before I started anything else. In the back here, you can see some grass, some green, and I used a dark green paint with upward strokes to achieve this grass-like look. And right here at the front, you can see like a light green, and that was achieved by using light green paint and going upwards in an upward stroke to make it look like grass. And after I finished the background, which everything was done first. The background, everything was done first. And then I did the stem of the dandelion. That one was a lot harder actually to do after doing the background. I then used cotton boards to make the dots right here, which is supposed to look like dandelions. And yeah, and then at the side of the painting right here, it says make a wish. And I wrote make a wish there because a lot of the times when you pick up a dandelion, you usually blow it and you make a wish with it. And I just thought it was a good idea to put make a wish on the side right there. So that's my dandelion painting. And yeah, thank you.
Dear Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., my name is Charlie and I am in the 6th grade at Valhalla Middle School. I'm so thankful I live in an amazing community with great schools. I love my teachers and I have great friends. I'm writing to tell you about something that happened in 2020 and I saw it all on TikTok. I know you probably don't know what TikTok is because it didn't exist in your lifetime. What I saw on TikTok made me so sad. I saw a person being killed because of the color of his skin. Then other stories of young people of color being killed started coming, and I wanted it to stop. I didn't want to hear about it anymore, but it was everywhere, on TV, on social media, and the internet. How can this all be happening in 2020? You lived during a time that there was racism and inequality, and 60 years later, it's still happening. I'm a preteen, and I'm a person of color, so what does that mean for my future? My mom always said when I was little, people used to say I was so cute. In a couple of years, I'll be a teenager. What will happen then? Will I still be cute? What if I want to wear a hood and go for a run? Will I be a threat? That is why I thought of you, Dr. King. You did a lot and you sacrificed your life for us. You wanted to see people united. Thank you for all you did and for giving kids like myself a better life today. But there is still a lot of work to do. If you were here today, I know you would be organizing a protest to end racism. So I wanted to do something too. Last year, I attended a Black Lives Matter protest to help bring awareness that racism is still around and we need to be united more than ever. So I went to a protest with my dad, my mom, my sister, and lots of people attended. We were all there for one reason, for equality.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
I felt like I was making a difference, and I was there to help change the future. In your time, you were brave, and you were determined to make a change, and you did it. I want to do the same. I'm a sports guy, though, not a politician, but I will still do my part to make a difference. While the protests were happening, I had the opportunity to do the pledge at my school. I was in 5th grade at the time, and it meant a lot to me. After the pledge, I said this: let's all work together to make this world a better place, full of peace and love. I will spread this message every minute of my life. And one day, together, we will finally be united and end racism. I will continue being the kid that I am, enjoying life, school, playing sports with my friends, and I will work hard for a better future. I will make you proud, Dr. King. Sincerely, Charlie.
I was born on March 4th, 1877 in Paris, Kentucky. I was an inventor, businessman, and community leader. I had to quit school at a young age to work, but hired a tutor to continue my studies. My most notable inventions were the 3-light traffic signal and the first modern gas mask. I'll give you a few seconds to guess who it is. If you guess Garrett Morgan, then you're correct. And now for the next Who Am I? I was born on July 2nd, 1908 in Baltimore, Maryland. I was a lawyer who served on the U.S. Supreme Court from 1967 until 1991 as the Supreme Court's first African-American justice. In the 1940s and 50s, I was a top lawyer, winning 29 of the 32 cases that I argued before the Supreme Court, including the famous Brown v. Board of Ed case. I'll give you a few minutes to guess. If you guessed Thurgood Marshall, then you are correct.
Who am I? I was born on August 4th, 1961, in Honolulu, Hawaii. As a child, I grew up in both Hawaii and Indonesia. I served as the 44th President of the United States from 2009 to 2017, becoming the first African-American president. Before becoming an Illinois State Senator, I worked as a civil rights attorney, community organizer, lecturer, and professor. Who am I? I'll give you a few seconds to guess. If you guess Barack Obama, you're correct.
Who am I? I was born on April 7th in 1915 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I am also considered one of the best jazz vocalists of all time. I had a thriving career as a jazz singer for over 30 years. Despite my turbulent personal life, I was a successful performer during the 1950s, singing sold-out concerts at Carnegie Hall. Who am I? Take a guess. I'll give you a few seconds. If you guessed Billie Holiday, you're correct.
February is Black History Month, but how much do we know about Black history? Let's find out.
What is the 13th Amendment?
I don't know.
Right to the jury.
Next question.
Who was the first Black president of the United States?
Barack Obama.
Barack Obama.
Who was the first Black president of the United States?
Barack Obama.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, who was the first Black president of the United States?
George Washington.
Bruh.
What happened on August 28, 1963 at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C.?
Reverend Dr. Luther King Jr. gave his I Have a Dream speech.
On August 28, 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. gave his famous I Have a Dream speech.
What happened on August 28, 1963 at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C.?
Martin Luther King Jr. gave...
Keep going.
Martin Luther King gave his famous I Have a Dream speech.
Your name?
Ruba.
Okay, so the question is, what Major League Baseball team did Jackie Robinson play for?
Yankees.
That's your answer? Okay.
Child. Anyway, so...
Your name?
Shaka Butcher.
Okay, so the question is, what Major League Baseball team did Jackie Robinson play for?
Dodgers.
Got it right.
What Major League Baseball team did Jackie Robinson play on?
Dodgers.
Yes.
Who is famous for staying seated on a bus when they were told they weren't allowed to sit where they were sitting?
Rosa Parks.
Who is famous for staying seated on a bus when they were told they weren't allowed to sit where they were sitting?
Rosa Parks. I read about her a few years ago.
Who conducted the Underground Railroad, which guided slaves who escaped slavery to freedom?
Harriet Tubman. Harriet Harriet Tubman.
Hello, everybody. This is Mr. O'Reilly, and I wanted to give a shout out to the members of the Whitney M. Young Junior Society. You're doing great work this year by celebrating African American History Month here, despite everything that's happened here with the pandemic. So much respect to everybody involved. All right, going to answer a couple questions here without any prior knowledge. What is the 13th Amendment? So this was, I believe, ratified in around 1865 in American history. It formally abolished slavery in all forms. Number two, who was the first black president of the United States? This would be Barack Obama, 2008 to 2016, correct? Number three, what happened on August 28th, 1963 at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. This was the site and the date of the famous I Have a Dream speech made by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It had an impact not just in our country here, but around the world as well. And it remained in the minds of people for decades later. Number four, what Major League Baseball team did Jackie Robinson play on? I believe his career was with the Brooklyn Dodgers. Very Olympics in Berlin, obviously overshadowed by the great Jesse Owens. But he did have a brother, Jackie Robinson, who was a stellar sprinter and medaled in those Olympics. All right, take care.
So for number one, the 13th Amendment abolished slavery in the United States. For number two, Barack Obama was the first black president. On August 28th, 1963, there was a march led by Martin Luther King Jr., I think. And then I don't know what baseball team Jackie Robinson was on.
Number one, what is the 13th Amendment? The 13th Amendment abolished slavery in the United States. Number two, who was the first black president of the United States? Barack Obama. Number three, what happened on August 28th, 1963? August 28th, 1963 at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. I believe it's called the March on Washington, and about 250,000 people showed up to advocate for equality. Number four, what Major League Baseball team did Jackie Robinson play on? The Dodgers. Number five, who is famous for staying seated on a bus when they were told they weren't allowed to sit where they were sitting? Rosa Parks. And number six, who conducted the Underground Railroad, which guided slaves who escaped slavery to freedom? Harriet Tubman.
All right, I'm going to be answering a couple questions. All right, the first is, what is the 13th Amendment? The one where slavery is bad, no more. Number two, what was the first black president? Obama. Number three, what happened on August 28th, 1963 at the Lincoln Memorial at Washington, D.C.? That was the Martin Luther King Jr. speech, right? Yeah. And then number four, what Major League Baseball team did Jackie Robinson play on? The New York Yankees? Yeah, that's on me.
I don't know what the 13th Amendment was. President Obama was the first black president. I have no idea what happened on August 28th. And Jackie Robinson played on the Dodgers.
So I know that Jackie Robinson is the first player in Major League Baseball history to break the color barrier, and he played for the Brooklyn Dodgers. And the 13th Amendment is the amendment that officially abolished slavery in the United States.
Okay, February is Black History Month. How much do I know? I feel like I know a little bit. I hope. Not as much as I should. I feel like none of us know as much as we should. Okay, first question. What is the 13th Amendment? So the 13th Amendment effectively ended slavery. However, there was a huge but in there, and it basically was you're free from slavery unless you're convicted of a crime, which is a huge problem today. Who was the first Black president in the United States? Barack Obama. What happened, date, on August 28th, 1963? Okay, well, I recognize the month and the year. Lincoln Memorial. Oh, okay, that's the I Have a Dream speech. I hope. What major league? The Yankees. Fifth question. On a bus. Rosa Parks. Underground Railroad. That is Harriet Tubman. Okay, that's it. Oh.